swear that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much.
Women seeking fundamental health care, including abortion rights, will be at risk.
Terrified children cry for their parents after being separated by Border Patrol agents.
It's a tense day here in Jerusalem after protesters clashed with Israeli security.
While growing allegations of voter suppression are
hundreds of counter-protests at neo-Nazi rallies ordering on separating families.
We will not stand idly by as people are denied their right to vote.
Shalom, I'm Paul Rockauer, Executive Director of the Jewish Community Relations Council, and we are proud to celebrate the formidable women of NCJW as we honor Mayors Gallego, Romero, and Evans. Over this last year, we've seen how our cities, this state, and truly the world depends on the leadership of strong women, so we are proud to honor them tonight.
Of the more than 200 judges nominated by this president and confirmed by the Senate, almost all have backgrounds that are hostile to healthcare and to abortion.
People who were vulnerable before are devastated. This is a crisis.
Even as we mourn It is on all of us to pursue justice in her stead.
Whose court is this? Our court. Whose court? Our court. One more time for the people in the back.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much.
Women seeking fundamental health care, including abortion rights, will be at risk.
Terrified children cry for their parents after being separated by Border Patrol agents.
It's a tense day here in Jerusalem after protesters clashed with Israeli security.
While growing allegations of voter suppression are
Hundreds
emerging.
of counter-protests at neo-Nazi rallies against borders on separate families.
We will not stand idly by as people are denied their right to vote.
Shalom. I'm Paul Rockauer, Executive Director of the Jewish Community Relations Council, and we are proud to celebrate the formidable women of NCJW as we honor Mayors Gallego, Romero, and Evans. Over this last year, we've seen how our cities, this state, and truly the world depends on the leadership of strong women, and so we are proud to honor them tonight.
than 200 judges nominated by this president and confirmed by the Senate, almost all have backgrounds that are hostile to healthcare and to abortion.
People who are vulnerable before are devastated. This is a crisis.
Even as we mourn, it is on all of us to pursue justice in her stead.
Whose court is this? Our court. Whose court? Our court. One more time for the people in the back.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much.
Women seeking fundamental health care, including abortion rights, will be at risk.
Terrified children cry for their parents after being separated by Border Patrol agents.
It's a tense day here in Jerusalem after protesters clashed with Israeli security.
While growing allegations of voter suppression are emerging. Hundreds of counter-protests at neo-Nazi rallies ordering on separating families.
We will not stand idly by as people are denied their right to vote.
Shalom. I'm Paul Rockauer, Executive Director of the Jewish Community Relations Council, and we are proud to celebrate the formidable women of NCJW as we honor Mayors Gallego, Romero, and Evans. Over this last year, we've seen how our cities, this state, and truly the world depends on the leadership of strong women, so we are proud to honor them tonight.
than 200 judges nominated by this president and confirmed by the Senate, almost all have backgrounds that are hostile to health care and to abortion.
People who were vulnerable before are devastated. This is a crisis.
Even as we mourn, it is on all of us to pursue justice in her stead.
Whose court is this? Our court. Whose court? Our court. One more time for the people in the back.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much.
Women seeking fundamental health care, including abortion rights, will be at risk.
Terrified children cry for their parents after being separated by Border Patrol agents.
It's a tense day here in Jerusalem after protesters clashed with Israeli security.
Well, growing allegations of voter suppression are emerging. Hundreds of counter-protests at neo-Nazi rallies ordering action on separate families.
We will not stand idly by as people are denied their right to vote.
Shalom, I'm Paul Rockauer, Executive Director of the Jewish Community Relations Council, and we are proud to celebrate the formidable women of NCJW as we honor Mayors Gallego, Romero, and Evans. Over this last year, we've seen how our cities, this state, and truly the world depends on the leadership of strong women, so we are proud to honor them tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are enjoying our pre-show here for the NCJWAZ Gala, I will tell you that our program starts in just less than 10 minutes. And I know that because it says it right there. My name is Jason Alpert. I will be your MC, your host, and your auctioneer throughout the program. Get ready get set. Our program begins momentarily. If you haven't already checked out our auction items, please be sure to go to the web address right there on your screen, NCJWAZgala.com. Go there, check out our auction items, check out our opportunity drawings, check out the opportunity to donate and give. You'll need that for the full immersive experience when our program begins. When does it begin? In just about 9 minutes. We'll see you then.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much.
Women seeking fundamental health care, including abortion rights, will be at risk.
Terrified children cry for their parents after being separated by Border Patrol agents.
It's a tense day here in Jerusalem after protesters clashed with Israeli security.
Well, growing allegations of voter suppression are emerging. Hundreds of counter-protests at neo-Nazi rallies ordering on separating families.
We will not stand idly by as people are denied their right to vote.
Shalom, I'm Paul Rockauer, Executive Director of the Jewish Community Relations Council, and we are proud to celebrate the formidable women of NCJW as we honor Mayors Gallego, Romero, and Evans. Over this last year, we've seen how our cities, this state, and truly the world depends on the leadership of strong women, so we are proud to honor them tonight.
200 judges nominated by this president and confirmed by the Senate, almost all have backgrounds that are hostile to health care and to abortion.
People who were vulnerable before are devastated. This is a crisis.
Even as we mourn, it is on all of us to pursue justice in her stead.
Whose court is this? Our court. Whose court? Our court. One more time for the people in the back.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much.
Women seeking fundamental health care, including abortion rights, will be at risk.
Terrified children cry for their parents after being separated by Border Patrol agents.
It's a tense day here in Jerusalem after protesters clashed with Israeli security.
While growing allegations of voter suppression are emerging, hundreds of counter-protests that neo-Nazi rallies executive orders on separating families.
We will not stand idly by as people are denied their right to vote.
Shalom. I'm Paul Rockauer, Executive Director of the Jewish Community Relations Council, and we are proud to celebrate the formidable women of NCJW as we honor Mayors Gallego, Romero, and Evans. Over this last year, we've seen how our cities, this state, and truly the world depends on the leadership of strong women, so we are proud to honor them tonight.
This is a time of both incredible peril, where we see so much of the progress we have fought so hard for, on women's rights, on voting rights, on civil rights, on democracy itself being pushed back. And it is a time of inspiration because there is a response, a rising chorus, people taking action and organizing, creating a legacy to turn this world to a more just and righteous path.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Alpert, and welcome to the National Council of Jewish Women Arizona's Power and Persistence Virtual Gala. We've got a great program in store for you this evening. Our goal over the next hour is to make our voices heard, and you will learn about the mission of NCJWAZ and what they are fighting for over the next hour of time. If you haven't already registered for our program in order to help support the cause through donations and bidding in the auction and buying opportunity drawing tickets, all you have to do is go to the web address you see on your screen right there. It's ncjwazgala.com. So please, if you haven't already gone to that web address, go there, check out the items. We will talk you through the fundraising opportunities throughout the program. There are plenty of groups who stepped up before this program even started. They are our sponsors. They are the ones who made the program initially possible, and they begin with our Mayor's Circle Tribute Circle sponsors. Our diamond sponsor, the Friends of Mayor Romero. Thank you so much for stepping up to the plate and supporting this mission and this cause. And how about our Ruby sponsors? Avio, thank you for being a Ruby sponsor in the Mayor's Tribute Circle. And then there are our Gala sponsors. The sincere appreciation to those Gala sponsors, beginning with our social justice leader, Sheila and Mike Kurzman. And the other social justice leader is the Phillips family. Thank you. Our advocate sponsors, Goodman Interior Structures and Ruth Shaber, MD. Thank you for supporting NCJWAZ here at our virtual gala. Now, we talked about the fundraising opportunities a moment ago. I will tell you that our silent auction, which many of you have been bidding in all week, will close in about 35 minutes. We will count you down to the final moments of that silent auction, so stay tuned and just pay attention. We'll let you know when that's going to happen. There's also that opportunity drawing for a great raffle basket. Look at the details on that at ncjwazgala.com, and we will tell you when your last opportunity to buy those opportunities is as well. As we move on through the program, though, I want to bring on board to help me progress the show. She is the president of the NCJWAZ. Please welcome Sivia Tamarkin.
Thank you, Jason. Good evening. And thank you, everyone, joining us from across the country for NCJWAZ's virtual gala. We appreciate your support and the generous support of our sponsors and donors, which enables us to continue fighting for social justice. I want to thank the members of the Gala Committee who plunged into the unknown, learning under fire to meet the challenges of doing a virtual event. Tonight, on the eve of International Women's Day, we are here to give voice to the voiceless, to honor 3 women leaders who raised their voices to protect their communities during COVID, and to celebrate the power of making our voices heard to drive social change. National Council of Jewish Women has been making change happen since 1893, when Hannah Greenbaum Solomon, a social reformer from a prominent Chicago family, launched NCJW in the aftermath of the World's Columbian Exposition as a symbol of women's progress, of the new woman who dared to go out into the world and do what her convictions demanded. From the beginning, NCJW women addressed the significant problems of the times: housing and jobs for the influx of immigrants, child labor, child welfare, public health, civil rights. They even worked with the courts to establish legal aid. Of course, they campaigned for the 19th Amendment, and they pioneered the establishment of birth control clinics. Today, we have the same agenda and the same priorities: access to reproductive health care, women's rights, civil rights, immigrant rights, voting rights, child abuse and neglect, human trafficking, and sexual and domestic violence remain the keystone of our mission. NCJW has been a presence in Arizona for 100 years, active in community service and education. But in today's political climate, we have a new focus on advocacy, making our voices heard to impact policy from the State House to the White House. In the current legislative session in Arizona, we are lobbying and building coalitions to support criminal justice reform, sex education in the schools, and the suspension rate in elementary schools, which feeds the school-to-prison pipeline. And we are rallying in opposition to an avalanche of dangerous bills that would suppress voter rights, enshrine one religious view into law, restrict access to reproductive health care, discriminate against transgender girls, and defund public education. The hallmark, however, of NCJW's history has been to recognize and respond to unmet community needs. We helped establish Jewish Family and Children's Services, the Child Crisis Center, and the Court-Appointed Special Advocate Program, CASA. Now we are introducing our most ambitious project, the development of Ruth Place, a trauma recovery center for survivors of sexual assault, child sexual abuse, and rape, so that they can be empowered to regain control over their lives. Sexual violence is the most prevalent crime in the United States. The numbers are shocking. So are the effects. Survivors experience more severe psychological and emotional trauma and distress than victims of other crimes. The effects last decades, sometimes a lifetime. Too often, they are unable to navigate the mental health system to find a pathway to recovery. Existing rape crisis centers focus on reporting, gathering evidence, and prosecuting the crimes. But most survivors just want to move on with their lives and find a pathway to heal. That is what Ruth Place will provide, a safe, nurturing environment where they can make their voices heard and no longer have to suffer in silence.
From the age of 6 to the time I was 17, I continued to have be sexually abused by various family members, including my father, including my other brother, my older brother, who raped me. I did not own my body. My body was not mine. My body was anybody who wanted to touch me could touch me. There were no boundaries. I had no boundaries. I had no idea that I had a right to have any boundaries. It took me until I was about 17 years old, until after I was raped. And I finally got it that I didn't have to accept that anymore. And it was also the first time I was finally angry with someone else, because when I was growing up, I never felt like I had permission to be angry. I got married, and then I married somebody who was also abusive. And then ultimately it led to me having a nervous breakdown. And all of the things and all that, the little girl and that young girl that I tried to bury resurrected herself. And I lost everything. I could no longer take care of my children. I didn't know exactly what I needed, but I knew that what I was finding wasn't helping me. I knew that going to just a counselor or a therapist or a psychiatrist who treats a variety of different mental health issues was not what I needed. I found a group of survivors, of people who had experienced sexual abuse as well. Being able to find that group of women was so, like, I feeling my heart rate. It was so healing in my heart. It was like this melting. And I needed that more than I even understood. We were all just trying to find our voices together. And that is so necessary. I don't think I would be here where I am right now had I not had that. I needed to feel like I'm worthy. And I'm not alone. I'm not the only person. And there's something in that is like, okay, there's hope. There's hope. I can actually heal from this, heal myself, heal my relationship with my children, to heal and to be joyful, like not just happy, but like to actually experience joy.
We looked like the perfect, beautiful family, except we weren't. And I knew there was something not right in the way that I felt about so many things. My husband would find me in the closet, sleeping in a little ball. I would have such horrible night terrors, screaming. I would say things at night that would say, please don't do that. I'm asking you not to do that. Please don't do that. I was deathly afraid of having children. I was deathly afraid of doing something to a child that I did not remember. And I went to a psychiatrist. I got on antidepressants, but mostly what I did was just work. I always had feelings and thoughts and disconnect and a feeling of being almost outside myself. There have been many times, had I had the fortitude and the courage and enough drugs, I would not be here anymore. I started praying and meditating every single day. I had to do that because I did not understand what was happening to me. The memories started coming back. They were incredibly powerful. They were incredibly graphic. And I remember that my dad had raped me when I was in high school, and that I had an abortion, and that we never spoke about it again. When you are a sexual assault victim, an incest victim, you don't have a voice. You are told from the beginning not to say anything, that what you're doing is dirty and it is shameful and it is your fault. And so as you grow up, as you remember, your family is going to say, I don't want to hear it. It's too painful. And so you walk around with a ball of incredible pain. We need a place where victims of rape, of sexual assault can go to heal, and a place where people say, I understand exactly how you feel. If you want to be mad, you can be mad. If you want to yell, you go ahead and do it. If you want to cry, that's okay too. Because we have been there, and we have, to the best of our ability as survivors, we've come out on the other side, and we're going to show you how to do it.
Candace and Veronica, thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for helping us see the need in Arizona for a place just like Ruth Place. I'm going to read this to make sure that I get it correct because it's so important. Ruth Place is going to be a comprehensive trauma recovery treatment program and social support network that empowers survivors of sexual assault and exploitation to take control of their lives and their futures. Right here in Arizona, it is an unmet need that we can help meet. Ruth Place will address the social, emotional, and psychological needs of survivors, their families, and allies at all stages of the recovery process. The comforting and emotionally safe environment will provide a diverse population from ages 16 to 75. They will provide them access to no or low-cost individual counseling, group therapy, emotional intervention mentorships, and social support networks to enable long-term trauma recovery. We need Ruth Place in Arizona. In this part of the program, it's called the Bid from the Heart. And in the Bid from the Heart, we're not going to ask you to bid on an auction item, a trip, a dinner, a piece of jewelry. We're going to ask you to bid from the bottom of your heart and give directly to our mission. Give directly to the vision that is Ruth Place and what it will become, so that when we get together for our next gala, we can tell you about what it has become. Our goal over the next 7 or 8 minutes here is to raise $25,000 to help support that vision that is Ruth Place. If you haven't already registered, please go to NCJWAZgala.com, that web address right there. That is how you have that full immersive experience and can donate and give to Ruth Place, as we're about to explain to do. The way the bid from the heart works is I'm going to call out some dollar amounts. As I call out those dollar amounts, we encourage you to pull out your bidding device, whether that be your phone, your computer, your laptop, your tablet. Maybe you're watching this on your big screen TV. Wherever you're watching it, please make sure that through that web address that we gave you, there's a button at the top on the home screen that says Donate Now. I'm going to hold this up here so you can see it a little bit. Right at the top, it says Donate Now. You click on Donate Now, and it brings up some buttons. Those are the buttons that will be representative of the dollar amounts that I'm going to call out now. I've got a screen here in the studio that will allow me to acknowledge and thank the donors as the donations are made. As I mentioned, our goal is $25,000 for Ruth Place. Our first level that we will ask for in tonight's bid from the heart is $10,000. A $10,000 donation will help fund something like 400 hours of group support counseling. Think about the difference that can make for those who most need it. As I mentioned, we've got the screens here in the studio that I will look at, I will watch. When the donations start coming in, we will put names up on the screen. We're waiting to see if there's a $10,000 donor out there. At the $5,000 level, you can provide 50 hours of specialized trauma services. 50 hours. Depending on how you want to look at that, that could be 50 people for an hour. Maybe it's 2 people, 25 hours each. Is there a $5,000 donor out there who will help kickstart our bid from the heart? We're watching the screens here, watching to see what comes in. We did just get a $5,000 donation. How about that, right? Carol Port has donated $5,000 to this mission. Carol, thank you so much for that. And I will tell you all, our small but mighty studio audience, which consists of a total of 5, including me, they celebrate these donations as they come in. Please understand that sometimes we get large donations like Carol's, and they say, I'll give my $5,000 if someone will match me, or if I can get 5 people to match. No. Carol said, I believe in this mission to the tune of $5,000. Who's with me? Who will follow my lead? Any other donors out there at $5,000? I see the donation number continuing to grow, and we will acknowledge as many of those donors as we can throughout tonight's Bid from the Heart. But right now, we're looking for $5,000 donors. Anyone else at 5? Where are my donors at $2,500? At the $2,500 level, you'll fund almost 75 hours of individual counseling. We talked about the specialized trauma services. We talked about the group counseling. Now we're talking about individual counseling, almost 75 hours. Is there a $2,500 donor out there? I continue to watch my screens here and see where it comes in. We did just get a $2,500 donation. Sivia Tamarkin and Alan Harris, thank you for your $2,500 donation. Who else at $2,500? We've gotten almost up to $12,000. The donations are rolling in. I see Stephanie Lieberman-Kirshner. We're going to call out some of these names later on in the program when we get to those levels. So please, at $2,500 or $5,000 or $10,000, now's the time to put them in. We'll keep working our way down. Again, we're looking for 100% participation from everyone watching tonight. Where are my donors at $1,000? At $1,000, you fund 40 hours of support group counseling. Think about that. Think about what Ruth Place can do in this community. Ages 16 to 75. The full gamut. Men and women, those who need it. An unmet need in this community. Who's in at $1,000? It's a nice round even number. Your accountant will thank me, right? Where are my donors at $1,000? There it is. We just got a $1,000 donation. How about that? You know what? But what I love about that, our next donor came in that quickly. So I want to make sure that David and Louise Zaretta get credit at their $1,000 donation. How about Gary Greenberg is in at $1,000. Gary, thank you so much. Ellen Rudnick was in, a $1,000 donor. Ellen, thank you for your $1,000 donation. We're up over $18,000 and growing. We'll call in more of these. How about Pamela and Rebecca Gerber? They're in at $1,000. Thank you for that. Folks, we just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 donations at $1,000, which are creeping us up to that $20,000 mark. Who else at $1,000? Who else wants to fund those different levels of services? The specialized trauma services, 10 hours of specialized trauma services. Anyone else? Anyone else at $1,000 or $2,500? 5,000 or 10,000. Now's the time, as I mentioned, all donations are done through your bidding device, which you got to by going to NCJWAZGala.com. So if you haven't already gone there, pull it out. There are buttons on your bidding device just like this. Anyone else at $1,000? I don't think I mentioned that one. Is that why you're scrolling on that one? I'll make sure I get that one. It says a guest of Janine and Janine Sheck. So I want to make sure that that gets credit. So Janine Sheck, thank your guest for us. They are $1,000 donors. Judith Rosenthal was also in at $1,000. I'm not quite sure I got that one. And Julie Golding, I'm pretty sure I mentioned Julie's name, so thank you to Julie there as well. So we're up over $20,000. How about a $500 donation? How about a $500 donation? We see the names continuing to scroll on the screen. I know Ann Arbitman gave $500. So Ann, thank you so much. How about Heather and Jim Burgett gave $500 to this cause? They believe in Ruth Place. I ask you, who else believes in Ruth Place? Yeah, let's sort by dollar amount, or if you can highlight some at 500 there for me. Because I know some came in earlier at 500. Barbara Leakowitz is a $500 donor. Barbara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who else at 500? I think those are all to this point. I'm going to wait to see other ones that have come into this point. Because let's show that thermometer again, because we are up over $21,000. Meg Fusick is in at 500. Pamela Forbes Lieberman is in at 500. They're rolling in, right? And I know that Meg gave donations earlier, so she has now collectively given more than 500. A VO is in as well. One of our sponsors is now also one of our donors, so thank you for that. Brian Wasil, I'm going to get this one right. Brian Wasilewski is in at $500. So Brian, thank you. Who else at $500? We're creeping up to $22,000. Anyone else at the $500 level? I keep watching all my screens in here to see where donations are going to come in at. Who else at the $500 level? Jill Winebanks is in at $500. Jill, thank you. $22,333. Who's going to get us up over $23,000? We're inching towards that goal. Where are my donors at $250? Let's do this first, Pam. If we can sort by dollar amount, let me acknowledge some of the 250s that came in earlier in the program. Just like that is how I want it. Perfect, right? So we had a $250 donation from Linda Mundis. We got $250 from Lynn Kazakhstan. Thank you, Lynn. Jill Winebanks we talked about already. How about Judy and Stuart Fishman Noodleman at $250? Trisha Friedlander at $250. Madeline Lebedow at $250. Folks, those are the donations that are making a difference. We got a few more that have come in now. I see Jenny Easy's name up there. I see Laura. Now they're rolling in fast. Too fast for me to keep up. Let's go back over here to this screen. We got Jenny Eisel at $250. Laurel Ginsburg at $250. Who else? What was Janice's donation at? I'll see that on this screen over here when we refresh it one time, I'm sure. Janice was also in at $250. Terry Jonas is now a donor. Elaine Jacobs is in. Thank you. Anyone else at the $250 donation level? I'm going to keep watching my screens and acknowledging the donations that they come in. We're going to get to that $2,500. I know it. I believe it. And here's how we're going to do it. At the $100, which is the next level that I'm going to call, we play a little game. And as much as I've said during the bid from the heart, you don't get anything except the feeling of knowing that you gave from the bottom of your heart. At the $100 level, we do have one prize. And that prize is a bottle of Opus One. Everybody say, ooh. All right. It is a 2017 Opus One, and it's valued at almost $400. And we're simply going to give it to the person who donates at least $100 in the Bid from the Heart last. Okay? So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to watch the donations as they come in. Let's go ahead and sort again by dollar amount so I can call out the people who have given $100 already. Yep, so scroll down right there. So we got $100 from Bonnie Clewins, from Sandy Kravitz, from Amanda Garcia, from Susan Sheshnall, from Carol Ann Epstein, and from Joanne Abel. Meg Fusick, I mentioned earlier, Alfred gave earlier, she gave $100, and Linda Thal gave $100. Ken and oh, there was a few more. I'm sorry, there was one more, I think. There we go. Ken and Susan Lorch gave $150. So here's how it's going to work, as I mentioned. Anyone who gives above $100, more than $100, is eligible for this game. We're going to watch all the donations come in here in the studio, and whoever gives a $100 or more donation last will get this beautiful bottle of Opus One. It's that simple, right? You don't have to be local. We will get the bottle to you. So we have had some other donations that have come in. Is this sorted by time? They are sorted by time. That's great, right? So I think since I last called them, Terry Jonas, I mentioned Terry. Elaine Jacobs, I mentioned Elaine. Deborah Jacobs gave $250. Harry and Lily Zoberman gave $250. Debbie Pilette gave $250. Who else? Maybe you want to give $180, right? Hi, 18. We can do that. So any donation above 100. The way it's going to work is in a moment, I'm going to put a 30-second counter. We just got a $1,000 donation from Jane Strauss, right? So I will tell you that I see that we've reached the top of the thermometer, but we're not going to celebrate too much. We got a little bit more work to do. So Arlene Drucker was in at 100. Alejandra Dache was in at 100. Lois Von Halley is in at 100. Vicky Cabot is in at a $100 donation. Chris Love at 100. Emily Coslow at 100. Roberta Scharf is a $100 donor. We already mentioned Jane at that $1,000 donation. Thank you so much for that. Anyone else at $100 or above? As I mentioned, we're going to put a 30-second counter on it. We got some more donations that just came in. Carol Dragon is a $250 donor. Andra Karnofsky is a $100 donor. Carol was $250. I want to make sure I get that one right. Allie Bones is in. Andrea Winters is in. We're creeping up to 27,000. So let's go ahead and put that 30-second counter on the clock right now. Now, please understand that it is not an exact 30 seconds. Because of latency, and latency is the fact that the words are coming out of my mouth at a different time for everyone. It's reaching people at home at a very different time. So know that it's about 30 seconds from when I say that 30-second warning. We're going to watch the donations continue to come in here in the studio. We will continue to acknowledge the donors after the game is over. As I mentioned, you have to donate at least $100 or more to play this game. The winner gets that beautiful bottle of Opus One 2017 vintage, but we're going to find out who our last donor is in just a moment. So again, all right, so the bell has rung, which means that the game is over. Now, I will tell you that because of that latency, I'm going to give it a few seconds for the last few donations to come in, and then we will announce who our Bid from the Heart last donor standing winner is. So let me review a few last ones of these that have come in. Refresh that screen for me one more time. All right, so here's what we've got. We mentioned the Roberta Scharf at $100. We mentioned Carol Dragon at $250. Andra Karnofsky was a $100 donor. Allie Bones was in at $250. Andrea Winters at $100. Carol Consalvo was a $100 donor. Keisha McKinner was a $100 donor. Rebecca Smith Gross was in at $250. And Pam, do you want to refresh one last time? Let's do this one last time, and this will be our winner that has come in right when that bell. Again, that latency gets us. Because we had a few more that came in. We got Kim Mundis at 100, Karen Skates at 200. We got Jolie Cooperman at 100, Judith Rosenthal at 100, Margot Blumenfield, all these donations that came in. And how about this? The winner of the last donor standing game with a $100 donation is Joni Rose. But what's more important, if we put up that screen now, let the donations keep coming, because what we have done for Ruth Place is raise $28,358. How about that? That is an awesome part of the program. Folks, now's the time, what I call the all call. Whether you want to give $18 or $18,000, now's the time to make that donation. All of the donations, again, go through your bidding device here. There is a button that says Other. You can make a donation of any amount that you want to make, and we will certainly update the Bid from the Heart total by the end of the program as it continues to grow. Now, we have we are so lucky with NCJWAZ to have the opportunity to welcome in some really special people to join our program this evening. And many of you knew they were going to be here. Many of you have tuned in because they were going to be here. And we're going to give Sylvia a chance to introduce them now.
It's heartwarming that so many of you understand and recognize the significance of Ruth Place and the need to give survivors a place to make their voices heard. Of course, making our voices heard is the theme of tonight's gala, and no one exemplifies that more than our featured speaker, Pat Mitchell. Women's voices and women's stories have been the focus of Pat's career as a pioneering media executive. She was the first woman to create, produce, and host a daytime television series in the 1980s, Woman to Woman. She became the first woman president of Public Broadcasting System, the first woman CEO of the Paley Media Center, and she is currently chair of Sundance Institute, chair emerita of the Women's Media Center in New York, the author of Becoming a Dangerous Woman, and the founder and editorial director of TED Woman. Pat is someone who spent her career using media as a powerful voice for social change. Hollywood Reporter named her one of Hollywood's most powerful women. She's been recognized for her humanitarian work. She has advised corporations and governments and foundations on how to empower women so their voices are heard. It is my great privilege to welcome my friend and former colleague, Pat Mitchell, and our special guest, her friend, who really needs no introduction, the co-founder of Women's Media Center, activist, actor Jane Fonda, who only last week this time was being awarded the Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award at the Golden Globes.
Thank you, Sylvia, for this invitation to participate in such a special event. It's good to be with you and the Arizona section of the National Council of Jewish Women. I'm especially pleased to be able to say a few words about the important project you're raising support for today, Ruth Place. Supporting ways to heal the survivors of sexual assault is at the core of my passions and is the foundational value for my activism and personal philanthropy. I have personally witnessed the importance for survivors to have a place to heal, a safe place to share their stories, to share their pain, but not to live in it, by being better prepared to move forward in their lives. I've seen and supported centers like the one that you propose to build now in Arizona. One example comes to mind I want to share with you. In Eastern Congo, considered to be the most dangerous place in the world to be a woman, where nearly 1 million women have already been raped in a civil war, which is largely being fought on women's bodies. We built such a center. And by we, I mean the movement to end violence called V-Day. We brought together a coalition of activists and organizations to respond to a humanitarian crisis that the world is still ignoring. When we asked the survivors in Bukavu, Congo, what they needed most, they said a place to voice their pain, to share their stories, to get the skills and the training and the support to move out of their pain and reclaim their lives. We raised the funds to help them build what they named the City of Joy, a community which opened 10 years ago. And today, more than 2,000 survivors have been through the program, which was designed by Congolese women, and their place to transform their pain to power, and for many of them to also become leaders. That's the point of the City of Joy, and that's what will happen because of what you're building in Arizona. A safe place to transition from victim to survivor, and maybe even to dangerous women. Now, surely you agree that we live in dangerous times. Times when the incidents of violence against women in their homes as well as communities have increased dramatically. Times when the economic impact of a global pandemic has hit women harder than any other group and threatens to wipe out decades of progress. Times of deep personal, political, and ideological divides, pushbacks on racial and gender equality. I believe such dangerous times call for more dangerous women. And as you may have heard, I declared myself a dangerous woman at 77 and wrote a book about the journey from small-town rural Georgia to navigating some unexpected success as well as a few failures to discovering my own dangerousness. Now, what do I mean by dangerous? Well, I don't mean becoming someone to be feared, but I do mean becoming more fearless. I mean speaking up about violence and injustice every time we see it or experience it, even if staying silent is safer. I mean speaking out in every room and at every table for those who are not represented, and using our personal power and influence to ensure fairer, more just representation in every room and at every table where decisions are made. And I mean standing up as an advocate for the marginalized and the vulnerable, for those who need our voices to empower theirs. I also mean a willingness to take risk, to get involved, to follow our passions, to commit to causes greater than ourselves or our own careers or work. And I mean to consider every age, every step in our life's journey as one new opportunity to make a difference. And I mean showing up for one another. And this could be our most dangerous act. When women come together, we put aside our differences, we commit to shared problem solving. Well, we are a dangerous force for positive change. I believe this, and I've witnessed it all over the world. In every one of the places where I've been in this work, and many more, I see women leaders stepping up, standing up, showing up for each other, and in every case, leading to greater equality for everyone. So yes, I'm encouraging you as women leaders to embrace your own dangerousness and embrace the risk which are necessary to change the world. We cannot be dangerous from the sidelines. We have to jump in, get engaged. And not only then does that change families, communities, and countries, it's good for us too. Especially as women of a certain age, getting dangerous can mean getting off the sidelines and out of our comfort zones. Dangerous women never retire. We rewire. And with other women being the fastest growing population on the planet, older women, we rewire personally and collectively to be the most powerful and therefore potentially dangerous force for positive change. I've got a living example. Consider my friend Jane Fonda. Now, she could be enjoying her primetime years knowing that she'd already had enormous impact on the world with a career as an actor and an activist. But 3 years ago, after she turned 80, she was feeling a bit down, a bit useless even, and saw instead the future being threatened for her children and grandchildren. So she decided to get active. And once again, she's leading actions. And she's here to tell us about her passionate advocacy.
Hi, I appreciate the invitation to talk to you for a few minutes about activism. Instead of talking about activism generically, about how it can give meaning to our lives, about how it's the best antidote to depression, about how fun, joyful even, it can be. Instead, I want to say how urgent the climate crisis is and to invite your participation in combating it. Research done at Yale shows that women care more about the climate than men do, are more willing to put themselves on the line to save the environment and us. You see, women are far more impacted by the climate crisis and by fossil fuel pollution. They absorb more of the toxic chemicals that are in the air and water from the burning, refining, and fracking of fossil fuels, which can cause asthma, heart disease, and cancer, and affects their fetuses, causing premature births. Nursing babies are affected as well. In addition, 80% of climate refugees are women, and they are the last to be rescued. Because women produce and harvest food, especially in the global south, extreme weather events make it very hard for them to feed their families. And a lot of the women refugees at our border are there because they can't grow food in Central America because of the prolonged drought. Worldwide, sex trafficking and rape are on the rise in the aftermath of storms and climate displacement. In remote rural areas and on indigenous lands in the United States, where hundreds of men who do the drilling and fracking live in man camps. And there's an epidemic of indigenous women who've disappeared. Many have been found dead. Not to mention that our oceans are dying. Only 15% of our planet's original forests still exist, and billions of species have gone extinct already. Scientists are unanimous in saying we have less than a decade to cut our carbon emissions in half so as to keep warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade. If the climate warms beyond that, scientists say we'll have reached a tipping point when the collapse of ecosystems on which life depends will be beyond our control. In other words, this is the time. We have a decade. We are the last generation with the ability to decide whether our children and grandchildren will have a livable future. So please, read my book, which is full of things to do. Give it to somebody else to read as well. Talk about the climate crisis. Make sure you're not invested in fossil fuels and join the climate movement. As writer Naomi Klein says, failure to do these difficult tasks in time is a choice, not an inevitability of human nature. We're not doomed unless we choose to be. Thank you.
Jane Fonda and Pat Mitchell, thank you so much for not only being part of our program, but really infusing the importance of justice and social justice into this program. You know, Jane mentioned environmental justice, but listen, that's just one form of social justice, and we can make differences. We can fight for that social justice. And as much as we raised money earlier on in the program through the Bid from the Heart for Ruth's Place, what we're going to do now is continue to raise funds, but through the auction format. The silent auction, which many of you have been bidding on all week long, is going to close in 3 minutes. We have set a 3-minute counter here in the studio, and please understand that it's not an exact 3 minutes. I know I've talked a little bit about latency earlier on in the program, but latency basically implies that the words that are coming out of my mouth are reaching people who are watching at different times by a few seconds here or there. So please don't set a stopwatch on the exact 3 minutes. Just know that you want to get those final bids in now. All bidding is done through your phone, which most of you already have out in front of you. And on your home screen, there's a few buttons that you'll see there. The donate button, which we used earlier in the Bid from the Heart. The live auction button, which if you want to look at the live auction items, those are going to come up in just a few moments. You can actually bid on the live auction items right now. There's a button that says raffle basket, and that is a basket full of $600+ of gift cards. And those are only $25 to buy your way into that. So please check out the raffle baskets. And then the last button there is the items with no bids. So please, if you want to help us sell out this auction, click on the items with no bids, place a bid on a no bid item, and help us sell out the auction. And then lastly, there is that drop-down menu right above everything else that if you want to bid and look through our entire auction, all you have to do is click on that drop-down menu and go through all the different categories of our auction items. So I will wait to hear the bell. We heard the bell earlier when we celebrated as to when the silent auction is closed. When it is closed, I will let you know, but quite candidly, you will know it's closed because you won't be able to bid on them anymore through your bidding devices. There are items with no bids that I talked about. We also have some of our most popular items, and I'm looking at some of the bids up here on the screens in front of me. Item 2077 is what we call the bucket list picks. Again, 2077. The bucket list travel experience is your choice where you want to travel to. You want to go to Iceland, you want to go to Costa Rica, or you want to go to Barcelona. Any of those three options. They got airfare, they got hotels, they got tours, they got rental cars. Read the descriptions and you will know that it is an all-in trip. Everything you would want while you're on your trip is in that package. So right now the bid on that is at $3,600. It's a trip for two. It doesn't expire for 2 years, so please check that one out there at all. We also have some of our other travel packages, like our Kentucky Bourbon Trail package is one of our top bid on items right now, so you'll want to check that out as well. We've got all sorts of jewelry that you can check out. We've got some Judaica that you can look at as well. So please check out those items in our silent auction. As I mentioned, when they close, they close. The raffle will also close at the same time as the silent auction closes. So as I mentioned, you've got a few minutes left to get in those final silent auction bids. You've got those same few minutes left to get in the final raffle purchases. We will announce our winning raffle purchaser before the end of the program. So please get in on those as well. All right, so the bell has now rung, which means that the silent auction is now closed. Any item that you won, you will know of that, and that will hopefully get you ready for our live auction. Because as we segue from our silent to live auction, I will tell you that the only real difference between the silent auction and the live auction is that I'm going to talk about each of the three live auction items individually. I'm going to call out our top bidder. I'm going to acknowledge who our underbidders are. We're going to see as they bid against each other. But again, all bidding is still done through your phones, through your bidding devices. So if you're at the home screen, which you can get to from anywhere by clicking menu and home, there's a button there that says live auction. I'm going to encourage you to click on that live auction button. You will see our three live auction items. I've got my screens in studio ready to go. I hope you're ready to go because now we are going to go. Our first live auction package is your opportunity to go to Tuscany. Now, when you're in Tuscany, before you go to Tuscany, you're going to have your choice from 13 different properties to stay at. Each of the properties is either in or around the picturesque hilltop town of Manciano. It's about an hour and a half north of Rome. And as we scroll through some of these images, you're going to see some of the different properties that you will be able to stay at. They are almost all two-bedroom villas set up for 4 people. In this area of Tuscany, you have world-class wineries and beaches, skiing and festivals. Of course, depending on what time of year you go, the beaches or the skiing will be for your destination. I think as important as anything, as much as I can talk about the 13 different properties, it has no expiration date. So many people are worried about traveling now, but what about next year and the year after and the year after? Buy this now, support NCJWAZ, and also don't have to set an expiration date. So we opened up the bid on this at $1,000. Debbie Pafel got in at $1,000. Susie and Tim Ernst came back at $1,500, and then Debbie came back again at $2,000. So right now, Debbie is my top bidder. We're going to see if we can get another bid at $2,500 to keep the bidding on this one going. Debbie was opening it up. Susie and Tim came back, and now Debbie is once again my top bidder. We do have a new top bidder. Donna Gutman is in at $2,500, right? So Donna's now in. She has outbid Debbie, who outbid Susie. So here's what we're going to do. As we watch these donations come in one more time, I will remind you again, no expiration date. I will remind you that you have 13 different properties to choose from. We'll keep looking at some of those pictures of the properties. This is one of my favorite. Put that picture up right there. I love that. Look at those beautiful pink flowers right in front of what could be your villa for the week that you're there. And remember, this is a full week. Sometimes you hear a week trip and it's check-in Monday, check-out Sunday. This is Monday through Monday, a full 8 days and 7 nights in a 2-bedroom Tuscan villa about an hour and a half north of Rome with no expiration date. So we'll look up here at the bids one more time. We had Debbie, we had Susie. Debbie came back, and now Donna Gutman is my top bidder at $2,500. I will ask Debbie to see if she's going to come back one more time at $3,000 before we close it out. We're going to go, we have a new bidder on this one right now. Pamela and Rebecca Gerber are in at $3,000. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the 30-second counter on this item right now. Remember what that means is that over the next 30 seconds, you must put in your bids fast and furious. Understand that, again, because of latency, it's not going to be an exact 30 seconds. When I'm alerted that this item is closed, I will be able to announce who our winning bidder is. We had Debbie and Susie and Donna and Pamela all bidding on this item. In a moment, we're going to be able to tell you who our winner is. I will continue to look down here at my bidding device. We have a new bidder. Donna Gutman has come back at $3,500, right? So now we got that bidder in there as well. So we're looking for a $4,000 bid at this point. I'm going to wait and see who's going to get in before we close it all out. So is that a celebratory bell or is that a closed bell? That's the 30. The auction item is now closed, yes? All right, so the item is now closed. Let's go ahead and refresh the screen one more time, and I'll be able to let you know who won this item. It's coming. And many of you may be able to see it on your phones, but sometimes I can work a little magic with these things, right? All right, so here's what we've got. We've got some magic with our top bidder is Pamela and Rebecca Gerber. So before I tell you what the magic I'm going to make is, let's go ahead and give a round of applause for Pamela and Rebecca, right? Yeah! They're going. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to award and reward Donna Gutman for bidding with us here tonight. So here's what we're going to do, and I'm going to make Pam's job a little bit harder. Not Pam the winner, but Pam who's sitting in with us here in the studio. Pam, if I had 2 of these to sell, I want to save Pamela and Rebecca Gerber $500. I want to put their bid down to $3,500, which will match Donna Gutman's bid at $3,500. So let me explain what's happening right now. Donna Gutman, you are winning this package for $3,500. And Pamela and Rebecca Gerber, you are also winning this package for $3,500. 2 separate trips. You're both going to Tuscany. The total sell price and money raised for NCJWAZ is $7,000. We are sold. Thank you from NCJWAZ. Let's move on to our next live auction lot. This next live auction lot takes you to the beautiful city of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Look at that beautiful summer view right there, right? The beautiful mountainscape in the background. That condo in the foreground is exactly where you are going to be staying. It is Bear Claw Condominium, which is the most prestigious condominium complex in Steamboat Springs, right there on the mountain. It is 5 bedrooms. It is 4 baths. It is as unique a property as you'll find within Bear Claw. 2 units were combined to make 1 master unit. It is for 7 days and 6 nights for up to 10 people in this 5-bedroom property. You look at the images you see on the screen there now, you will see the community pool that you will have access to. You will see the hiking that you'll be able to do. You will see the tubing down the river that you will be able to do while you were there. And let's give me the single photo shot. Can I show that one as well? Because that is what you are going to do. That is what you are going to see. If you take a moment and just breathe in, you get that cool summer mountain breezes. That's what you're going to have there, right? So Jane Strauss opened up our bid on this at $2,000. I will tell you that during high points of the summer, this can rent for upwards of $6,000 and $7,000. So right now, Jane is a $2,000 bidder. I need somebody to go $2,500. Is there a $2,500 bidder out there who wants to get Jane to keep her bidding going as well? Because right now we're at $2,000. I need a $2,500 bid. Is there anybody out there? Who's going to go $2,500 one time? Anybody want to go? Anybody want in? Who's going to go? Anybody want in at $2,500? We're watching our history screen here because I will tell you that this summer destination in Steamboat Springs will be your trip of the year. 10 people can go. Make it 5 couples if you so choose. For that $2,500 bid, think about this. I'm looking for $500 a couple if you decide to do this. Or maybe it's one big family and you want to do a big family reunion. You're all going in. We do have a $2,500 bid from Barbara Leakowitz. Barbara, I'm going to get that better. I think it's Lukowitz is what I'm going to guess. She's at $2,500. So now, Jane, do you want to come back at $3,000? Is there a $3,000 bidder out there for this $6,000 to $7,000 retail property if you try to get it for a week? But please understand that this unit is not available. If you want to go on one of those sites that's out there and look for a vacation property, this is not available. This is a private residence that has donated it to this event to help raise money for NCJWAZ. So we started at $2,000. We came back at $2,500. I now need a $3,000 bid. Is there anybody in at $3,000 before we put the counter on this one? I do have a $3,000 bid. Jane Strauss just came back at $3,000. We got to go $3,500 now. Is there a $3,500 bidder out there? Who's going to go $3,500? Let's put those images back up on the screen too, because that's what sells this, right? Those are the pictures that are going to make people want to get in and bid on this. So Jane is my top bidder at $3,000. Barbara is in at $2,500. We need Barbara to come back one time at $3,500. We're going to go ahead and put that 30-second counter on this auction lot right now. And as that 30-second counter ticks down, we're going to see, is it Barbara or is it Jane, or does somebody sneak in under the gun and get an auction lot like this one? Think about the opportunity to travel to Steamboat Springs for 10 people. Right now, Jane, my top bidder, at $3,000. If she's bringing 5 different couples, it's like $600 a couple for a week in Steamboat Springs. Think about the opportunity. The on-site opportunities there. They've got the fitness center. All right, so the bell has rung. That means the silent auction, that live auction item is closed. We're going to refresh the screen one more time and make sure we have exactly who our winner is. The beauty of technology allows me to look at these screens here and know what is happening. So let me see if we got an additional bid there. We do have a final sell price here of $3,000. We are selling it to Jane Strauss. We are sold, thank you, from NCJWAZ. All right, let's move on to our third and final live auction lot. This third and final live auction lot is your opportunity to go to Scotland. And in Scotland, it's not just the amazing opportunity to see the sights and sounds that make it one of the most amazing countries, but it's also a golf experience. We're going to play 2 rounds of golf at 2 different courses. Before we look at the courses you get to choose from, I want to tell you a little bit about your stay. You're going to stay for 4 nights at the Fairmont in St. Andrews, an amazing property. From there, you're going to take 2 nights at a luxury hotel in Edinburgh. And in Edinburgh, you'll have the city tour for 2, that, of course, the capital of the country. While you are in Scotland, you will have a rental car and daily breakfast for all 7 days that you are there. Where will you get a chance to play golf? Not just any courses. Look at the names of the courses that you will have the chance to play at. You will choose between Kingsbarn and Prestwick and St. Andrews and the Castle Course. You can play Royal Troon and Carnoustie. You can play the Championship Course. And at the Fairmont in St. Andrews, you can play the Torrance Course or the Kiddox Course. Your choice. You get to pick any 2 of those, and you get a twosome at either one of those courses. We opened up the bid on this at $2,000. And that was Lynn Jacob. She got in at $2,000, but I think Lynn realized she probably wasn't going to end up getting it for $2,000 because Barbara Salau came in at $2,500. So Barbara's currently my top bidder at $2,500. I now need somebody to go $3,000. Is there a $3,000 bidder out there who wants to go to Scotland for 7 days and 6 nights? It is a 6 nights accommodations. It starts at the Fairmont in St. Andrews and then goes to another luxury hotel in Edinburgh. We have new bidders now. Lynn Jacob is in. Actually, let me see these. So Rebecca Baker came in at $2,500 and matched Barbara's bid. But it didn't matter when you match someone's bid because we had Lynn Jacob come back at $3,500. So how about that? Lynn Jacob, currently my top bidder at $3,500. Who's going to go 4? Is there a $4,000 bidder out there anywhere? Who's going to go 4,000? Lynn Jacob, my top bidder at $3,500. So Rebecca, if you want to get in, we need a $4,000 bid. Who's in at $4,000? Is it Lynn? Is it Barbara? We're watching our screens here. Or is it Rebecca? Think about Scotland and golf in Scotland. It is the birthplace of the sport. So whether you love to golf or whether you just want to go to Scotland to see the castles, the greenery, the amazing sight and sounds of that city and of that country, this is the package for you. So Lynn Jacob, my top bidder, currently at $3,500. Is there a $4,000 bidder out there anywhere? Who's in at $4,000? Before we put the counter on this one, remember, it's going to go quick once we put the counter on. It is 7 days and 6 nights. You see the amazing golf courses that you get to choose from there. You get the daily breakfast. You get the rental car for the entirety of your stay. You get the city tour of Edinburgh while you are there. So we're at $3,500 with Lynn Jacobs. We're going to go ahead and put that 30-second counter on the clock now. Remember, don't trust my voice. Don't trust the 30-second counter as you think it is. If you want to put in the bid, I would put it in quick and put it in now because we need a $4,000 bid before we're able to wrap this one up. Right now, Lynn Jacob is my top bidder at $3,500. Who's going to go $4,000? We do have a $4,000 bid that just came in, which now we need $4,500. We need another bid at $4,500 in order to see if Rebecca or Lynn or Barbara can win this package. Anybody in at $4,500? All right, the bell just rang. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure that this screen gets refreshed one more time, because I only trust technology when I see it say closed here. I can look at it on my phone and my bidding device, but we're going to look one more time at the screen. And we do see that it is sold at $4,000. We are going to say sold, thank you, from NCJWAZ to Barbara Jameson. All right, so the live auction was certainly a lot of fun, and we raised some great money for NCJWAZ. But the other part of this program tonight, in addition to all the amazing fundraising we've done to this point, is our opportunity to award our 2021 Impact Awards.
The NCJWAZ Impact Award is presented to an individual or an organization whose work improves the lives of women and families in our communities. This year, we are honoring 3 courageous women leaders for their determination and commitment to protecting the health and safety of their communities during COVID. Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, Tucson Mayor Regina Romero, and former Flagstaff Mayor Coral Evans. 1 year ago, as the deadly coronavirus spread across the country, these mayors took emergency action. They closed bars and restaurants, issued mask mandates, curfews, and stay-in-place orders. They were criticized by many lawmakers who said this was martial law, and they were overruled by Arizona's Governor Doug Ducey, who declared that cities and counties could not act independently, nor could they enact restrictions on services that he deemed essential, like hair salons, nail salons, and golf courses. He also said that without state approval, they could not restrict people from leaving their homes or regulate crowds in public places like parks and the airport. In protest, these mayors sent him a letter and took to the national and local news, urging statewide mask mandate, contact tracing, and testings. The governor never responded, and Arizona became COVID capital of the world. But tonight we pay tribute to the valiant persistence of the 3 mayors who stood their ground and made their voices heard to protect the lives in their communities. Thank you and congratulations to the recipients of this year's NCJWAZ Impact Award.
I'm Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego. As both a mayor and a Jewish woman, I am thrilled to be joining this amazing group of mayors for this recognition. Thank you to the council for being wonderful partners as we push for a better Arizona and we fight through the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the things that I believe my faith teaches is that you are stronger when you work together, and I have loved working with these 2 dynamic mayors. We have worked to be strong voices for public health and data-based decision-making, as well as remembering the individuals who are impacted by COVID-19 and the difficult decisions so many families have had to make over the last year. Thank you to my sister mayors for that partnership and for joining together to fight for stronger communities. We look forward to working with you as we rebuild from the difficult events of 2020 and hopefully come out as cities and a state that really values our individual residents, that moves towards equity, equality, a more sustainable future. We are optimistic about the future, but no, we can't do it alone. So thank you for your partnership.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Regina Romero, and I'm thrilled to share this virtual space with you tonight. I am humbled to be one of the recipients for the NCJW Arizona Impact Award and honored to share this recognition with Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego and former Flagstaff Mayor Coral Evans. Last year, when our cities faced unimaginable challenges with the COVID-19 pandemic, we took fierce and bold action to protect our communities. It is not easy to buck state leadership, and our cities face great threats for attempting to impose stricter public health measures to protect the health and wellness of all Arizonans. I am proud that we, mayors, stood our ground and focused on the dire consequences of failing to act. 2 hours after I announced that I was proceeding with a local mask wearing requirement, Governor Ducey held a press conference to announce that local governments were granted permission to implement these measures. Courageous and bold leadership works. The very title of this event, Power and Persistence, Making Our Voices Heard, speaks volumes to me. My entire career, I have strived to be an agent of change and a voice for the marginalized. Since 1920, the NCJW has been actively advocating for reproductive health and justice, as well as fighting against sex trafficking and domestic violence. This is especially seen in today's event, which aims to raise funds for Ruth Place, the first sexual assault trauma recovery center in Arizona. We 3 mayors don't just share a passion for protecting public health. We are committed to improving the lives of our communities and safeguarding the human and civil rights of all residents. It is an honor to be recognized by an organization which stands for these same values. I want to thank the National Council of Jewish Women for this honor, and I look forward to working with you to leave a positive impact on the lives of others for many years to come.
Hello, everyone. My name is Coral Evans, and I'm the previous mayor of the city of Flagstaff, Arizona. I wish to say thank you to the National Council of Jewish Women of Arizona for this Impact Award. I greatly appreciate the fact that we are being honored, we being me and my sister mayors, for the work that we did surrounding COVID-19 here in the state of Arizona. I appreciate this opportunity, and I'm very thankful for it. But I also want to make sure that we know it's just not myself and the mayors that were involved in doing what we could to address the impacts of COVID in our state, but also all of you and all of the organizations such as yourselves who worked so hard on the front line to try to make a difference. Thank you for this award. Thank you for this honor. This honor goes to all of us.
Congratulations to our 2021 Impact Award winners. Thank you for all you do for your cities and for the state of Arizona. Now, as we get ready to begin to wrap up our program, the board and members of NCJWAZ want to take a moment to recognize the leadership of the President, Sivia Tamarkin. Ladies and gentlemen, what I will tell you that Sivia's powerful vision, endless drive, and commitment to activism is a role model for all who know her. Sivia is an award-winning investigative journalist, documentary filmmaker, and former television news executive. She has produced independent and cable documentaries, as well as developed programming content, models, and strategies for cable, internet, and digital global platforms. But to members of NCJWAZ, she is a tireless advocate for women's reproductive rights, child abuse and neglect, human trafficking, sexual and domestic violence, racial injustice, and gender equity. To the community at large, she is the go-to person to bring together and lead efforts that dramatically impact people's lives. The concept of Ruth Place was birthed by Sivia and is embraced by all of us here today. We thank you, Sivia, for your leadership, impatience for positive change, and for challenging us to carve doors where there are walls. I will tell you, folks, that Sivia had her hands on almost every part of this program except that one. So that was a little surprise from the board members and from your committee. So Sivia, thank you for all that you did to help us be able to do what I'm about to do, which is announce the total funds raised this evening. Many people said coming in, if we raised $60,000 or $70,000 or $80,000, it would be a success. Yes, we raised more than $60,000 for this program, and this is through ticket sales and sponsorships and auction items and bid from the heart and raffle opportunities. We raised more than $70,000. We raised more than $80,000. We raised more than $90,000. We broke the $100,000 barrier, but there's more. We raised more than $110,000. In fact, the exact dollar amount raised, and I'll look up here on the screen to make sure that I get it right, is we raised $110,510. How about that? Thank you for all you have done. For those of you who bought into our opportunity drawing, our raffle, we are going to pick a winner for that as well. So a randomly selected winner, it is? Mrs. Strauss. Jane Strauss wins our raffle. And let me tell you, I honestly believe there's some karma involved here because Jane was one of the winners of one of our live auction items, I believe. Jane was a big donor in the Bid from the Heart. So Jane, thank you for helping make this program a success. If you won an auction item, whether it be the silent auction, the live auction, maybe it was our raffle package as Jane Strauss did, you're going to get a text through our mobile bidding platform. So if you're registered to bid and donate, which you must have been if you won something, you're going to get a text through that platform letting you know exactly how to coordinate the delivery, the shipment, the pickup, whatever it may be of your item. So pay attention to your phone for that text message so you know exactly how to pick up your item. Ladies and gentlemen, as I get ready to say my last few words here, I will tell you that I have loved being your MC and your auctioneer here this evening. On behalf of the production crew who made this sound and look amazing, and the mobile bidding platform BidPal that made sure that we raised all these amazing funds from you all watching this evening. My name is Jason Alpert. Thank you for all that you have done, the power and persistence that you have shown to do just that, make our voices heard. I'm going to turn it over to Sylvia to say our final good nights, but from here in the studio, good night, everyone.
We hope this evening was inspiring, informative, and enjoyable. We are so grateful for your participation. But remember, this is not just a moment. We are a movement, and we hope you will join us. Thank you, and good night.